Hi, everybody. It's Alex Jarett with a brief conversation with my good friend Rameshwar Balanagu. Did I get that right, Rameshwar?
You got it right, Alex.
Great. I'm going to call you Ram from now on for the rest of the segment, if that's okay. Thank you so much for being here. You're in the Dallas area. And as you know, I went to UT Austin. I was born in Lubbock. And so I love Texas. And so hook 'em horns, always a fan of somebody from Texas. And so we're happy to have you here. And I got to tell you, I'm so impressed with your background. Let me just tell everybody real quick. You've recently been a chief enterprise architect. You've been a CIO of a number of companies. You're involved in lots of different groups, Foreign, Lean IX, and also you're a member of this board of directors of a really cool association.
American Board of Technology Professionals. It's called ABTP, Dallas. It's all about grooming and inspiring leaders at various levels. It's a 501(c), and it's a way of me giving back to the community.
That's great. So I just want people to know about that. You're doing a lot of good work in the community. But today, you are going to tell me about what's going on with quantum computing and what's happening with Q Day coming up. So tell us about that. What are we talking about here? What is the big deal about Q Day?
Alex, I'm super excited that we're talking about this topic of quantum. Before we talk of quantum, last year, and by the way, there's a long way for all of us to be really called as experts in cybersecurity. It's a long North Star, I would say. So we are just learning as we understand the layers of the onion. So there's a lot more to deal with it. I've been fortunate to traverse multiple roles, work with various people in the industry, leaders, and with startups. So I've accidentally bumped into some newer technologies last winter in something called quantum cryptography. We'll speak the language of the business, not the speak of IT techie. I always knew that we had something called Mayday. So Mayday is when a disaster strikes. And in the world of enterprise, today with the zero-day vulnerabilities, we call it a Mayday. But what I realized is, unfortunately, many of us are not aware, nor the level of education is. It's not Mayday, it's Q Day. And what do we mean by that is, Mayday is when a breach is occurring. What is happening is silently, without our knowledge, our data, which we think is encrypted and happily passing over the wire from cloud. Let's say you and I are speaking, they're not able to understand what data it is, but the packets that are being transferred between you and me are already siphoned off with a goal that tomorrow when quantum computers come, they'll be able to unwind, unclock this encrypted data and actually see what we are speaking. It could be PI information, private information, confidential, whatnot. So that discussion in last 2025 winter threw me off. And I said, geez, it's no more Mayday, it's a Q Day. And we didn't even know that. So I started digging into what exactly a Q Day means and why is it. So
well, hang on. Before you go further, let me make sure I heard that right, because that's kind of troubling. You're saying that our conversation right now, everybody, we're doing on, we're on Teams.
Teams.
So you're saying that as great as Microsoft is, it's going over networks and people are grabbing our conversation right now?
Yes.
For the future, who are these people?
Could be deep state, could be somebody. We don't know.
Could be another deep state, could be an enemy deep state.
It could be deep state, it could be sovereign states, it could be somebody who's been phishing, a cyber criminal, we don't know.
So the bottom line is a lot of these conversations that we think are private, but they're going over lines that are somehow being scooped up and they're just waiting for Q Day.
Yes, and it's the term that we use in quantum is harvest now, decrypt later. So you're collecting the packets, the network packets, which are data, that when quantum computers come, you can unclock it. So when I was educated about it, I said, it's no more Mayday, it's Q Day. We didn't know because a 0 day, when it comes, there is no time, you react. And this has been happening so passively that many of us aren't aware.
Here's what I've heard. Only a deep state or somebody with a lot of resources are going to spend any time doing this. So they're harvesting this data. So tell us again, what is Q Day and why should we be concerned?
So Q Day, the reason why we have this, we've been built on the fabric of digital trust. What I mean by the digital trust is we have security, we have certificates, we have encryption over the wires. Because of the algorithms what are coming in, all these digital trust is now likely to be broken by 2029, and by 2035, it's all completely 100%, the trust is broken. And that's why I'm calling it a Q day.
So Q Day, as I understand, I looked it up in preparation for this, is the day when quantum computing can start breaking codes,
Yes.
right? That's what people call Q Day.
Yes.
So you're saying that Q Day is even worse than that because they've already got the data. That's what I'm hearing.
It is, thanks to the compute. Now, there are algorithms that were created in the early 1990s, but thanks to the compute and the models, we are moving faster than expected than the Moore's law. So they are expecting 2029, but I expect between 2026 this year to 2029, we will be in the pre-Q, Q, and post-Q.
Geez, that's scary. So basically, there's these big players. There's probably no secret to the CIA or the FBI or whatever who's got these machines, right? You can't hide these things unless they're in some mountain. Is this Stargate here? So we're in some mountain hiding it from everybody, but maybe. So we know that these entities have these big computers and they're moving towards quantum. And I read the same thing that Q-Day is coming faster than we thought. What will happen to the enterprise? If you're watching this, you're a technology leader. What should they be doing now to prepare for Q-Day?
So a couple of things I want to say is a lot of people have the apprehension or misunderstanding that Q-Day is different from zero trust.
Yeah.
Both have to go together, hand in hand.
Oh,
So you cannot think that's a different thing. This is saying it is part of zero trust, complementing zero trust.
okay.
And why do I say that is you cannot have different strategies for your enterprise business applications. Think about it.
I see what
You,
you're saying.
you have
Yeah.
to think from your business criticality. Your brand is a trust. I blog a lot. We just talked of the agent, and we are just here in Feb 2026. We're talking of open cloud. Now, when you have agents running at scale and speed, and if the trust is broken, it's not just a Q-Day problem, it's your enterprise. Because think of it as if it's doing automation at scale and speed on your finance automation, not only your automation is tossed, but your personal information is now somebody else right now. So people need to really understand and make quantum as a part of their core supply chain. When I mean by supply chain, there's a software supply chain where they have to integrate along with the zero trust.
So if you haven't already started pursuing zero trust, you need to. That's job one. So if you're watching this, you're an enterprise technology leader. If you haven't moved to zero trust, you got to do it right away.
Yesterday.
You're behind. You should be nervous behind. Get your resume ready.
Yes.
What else can the enterprise leader, tech leader do?
Cryptography, many of us understand, but don't really understand. What I mean by that is we're not going to go too deep into it, but all I want to say is there is one level called asymmetric and other is symmetric. Asymmetric is think of it as everything that's going on your internet, your TLS, your bank encryptions, your SFTP, FTPS. Now, remember I told you that whatever your messaging, the messaging that you and I have is also part of the asymmetric encryption. Now, all of this is at ransom. So what we need is like in the traditional world, when we do our zero trust, we go into asset management and we kind of look at what is the most critical asset, what are the vulnerabilities, and then based on that, we come up with a zero trust. The cryptography has a very similar approach where right now, none of the asset management tools are ready for what we call as cryptographic bill of material. So you have to understand, let's say somebody comes into your agents, you have your basic identity management, your access management, your trust. So you need an inventory of all of your assets, tie them back to your most critical assets. And then that starts with only with the basic phase, because if you don't know what you don't know, what are you addressing? So then you come up with a roadmap, but post-quantum cryptography is just the beginning of something. It doesn't mean, and there's a myth again that just because if somebody says you're post-quantum cryptography, it is like you've added a bandage layer of security. You need continuous monitoring. On top of it, you have to have additional pillars of quantum, because this layer that we are adding on top of existing infrastructure is stopping you for now. So you have to be in this journey and add additional layers and what we call as quantum random number generation and key distribution, but they are a little bit high. But for companies now until 2032, which is where all the algorithms will be broken, they have to have a hybrid combination of existing zero trust plus post-quantum cryptography mechanisms. So that will keep them safe till 2032.
So there's your homework assignment, enterprise technology executives, technology leaders, as if you didn't have enough on your plate. If you haven't put zero trust into play, you got to start doing that now. And you sure better be learning about quantum cryptography. And that is great advice. Now, for those of us at home that are just looking at this and say, "Oh my God, is someone going to steal my bank account?" Give us two tips that we can start thinking about just at home. What can we be thinking, knowing that this is coming? What should we be doing?
If I want to make it a little bit spicier, Alex, we have these low Earth orbits, the satellites that are revolving, the SpaceX satellites and all. There was an article that with an $800 machine, they could hack into these low Earth orbit satellites and decode the data. So having said that, Google, the likes of Google, Apple, and the banks are already getting into this hybrid strategy of complementing or overlaying that. As an individual consumer, you really can't do much because your laptop, what you can tell is, let's say you're buying a McAfee or a Norton, you can just ask them what are they doing. So they make sure the certificates are installed. And then at best, I would say is we've been using VPN, and VPN is also subject to breach. There is quantum VPN coming, not so stable, but if possible, look into that. So as a consumer, you could keep yourself safe. But the people who are really right now on top is obviously the banks, critical infrastructure. Actually, I was just looking at some of our critical infrastructure. They are not ready for this because they are living on old systems like SCADA, 1970s, 80s,
I've
and all,
heard
right?
that.
So
You're talking about the grid is what we're now talking about. Now you're making me nervous. Time to get the shovel out, everybody. Get ready. Go ahead.
So I went into websites of some of the companies and did a little bit of research on how ready they are from post-quantum, and you'll be shocked that, and I get it, Alex, as an executive, you only have so much. You have to worry of AI, you have to worry of zero trust, and now you bring another headache to me saying, Ramesh, it's not zero trust, it's zero trust plus PQC. And because zero trust you can mitigate in some levels, but PQC, it goes all the way from your application layer to your SCADA systems. Your SCADA systems upgrading is no mean task. It's a very, very expensive proposition. Why are people still living with mainframes when we have agents, right? This is huge CapEx.
It's big. Well, listen, you got a lot of info that you could share with everybody, but you have so much enthusiasm about this topic. I wanted to give you a little bit of an audience here and share your wisdom. So thank you so much for sharing some of your insights about Q Day that's coming up, which everybody start getting ready right now. It's coming. It's probably going to come sooner than what you read about.
It's
And
already arrived.
yeah, it's already starting to be here. So just make sure you're doing zero trust and start learning about best practices for Q Day and just start moving in that direction. Thank you so much, Ram. It's great to see you.
Thanks, Alex.